it.
And I'm going to do it Facebook Live, which I almost forgot. I'm so glad I remembered.
Oh, I am too.
Let's see. Excellent. I'm making sure to hit all the buttons, so because I would forget.
Okay, back to the Zoom window then.
So I'm here, guys. I'm happy to help out. I'm gonna walk downstairs, and whenever you'd like me to start walking around the space, I'll be happy to do that. I'm gonna mute myself though, because Mac is working right behind me on the computer. So I'm just gonna walk through, but I'll take whatever direction you wanna give me whenever you're ready for me to wander around through the gallery for a few minutes, like five to 10 minutes or so.
Ryan, I think we had talked about Karen's going to do the slideshow first.
No, actually,
Do you want to change that?
Hello, Shane.
yeah, I mean,
Bye.
I don't you think seeing it in place, then seeing the detail shots, or do you think the other way around?
You know, either way.
Let's do Ryan first. We'll look
Okay.
at what it looks like in the gallery, and then we can talk about the work.
Okay.
And I'll just wait for like your lead, kind of, Karen, when you're ready for me to ask you something. You know, just like, I think you should say, you know, because I don't want to interrupt something else. Otherwise, I would start with, I would say something while we are in the gallery walking through it. So I'm just going to let you talk, and when you're ready for questions, just kind of like, you know, I guess just kind of let me know. You know.
I'll say, well, I think it's time for question number 3 right now.
No. I mean, just you know, when you stop talking, I mean, you could just say, you know, over to you or something like that, you know, to me, or, you know, anything like that, because I don't want to talk over you when you're doing the. So you're gonna talk people through the walkthrough. Is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
We should actually, it's 3:05.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let's
it's probably a good
begin.
idea to get started.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay,
everybody, good
Ryan,
to see you guys. Haven't seen
See you,
you,
Christine.
Cindy and Shane, and well, Diane. I mean, seeing your names at least.
Yeah.
I see Kara, my friend Kara there.
I am. Hi. I am. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Kara. I'm watching Ryan's video and I'm getting dizzy going
I
down.
know. I can't look at it. I'm like, I'm gonna try to ignore that. Yeah. Yeah.
And we can actually, I'm going to pin Ryan's video, and so that way everybody can see it larger. So
Yeah,
Karen,
don't forget to go to the window too. So, okay, so, all right, we're. Why, Christine? I don't know if you were going to introduce me for the beginning of the, you know, when we edit it, so there's a nice intro. Or.
Oh, it's like, yeah, I don't know how much it'll be edited, but welcome everybody. We are here for Karen Hochman Brown, Unspoken Word Beyond, her solo show at Tag Gallery. We are with Ryan, K. Ryan Hennessy, who is doing a walkthrough of the show in person at the gallery. And then Karen's going to do a slideshow with some details, kind of talking about where the show came from, showing some previous work. And then Genie is also joining us, Genie Davis, our writer, who is going to be interviewing Karen with some awesome questions and to kind of dive deeper into Karen's practice. So with that, I will pass it over to Karen.
All right, so you were going to pin Ryan's video?
Yeah, it's pinned.
Okay, it doesn't look that way on my screen.
It's, I think
You might need to do it yourself. It'll have a little thing in the upper right-hand corner when you mouse over it. And
is it pinned for everyone else? I'm seeing grid, and I'm seeing.
That's a grid.
Oh, there we
How
go.
I got it, I just
There
went
it
mouse
is.
over that
I just
video,
spotlighted.
and then
It's spotlight.
There
I
we
got
go.
it.
All
yeah,
right.
I think every one of us has to do it one by one.
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan, is there any way that you can focus a little bit better? It's getting. So this is actually the last work that I did for the series, are these bubble pieces that are intermixed with oil paintings by Douglas Teager. Yeah, get a nice side view on these. We'll talk a bit more about what the pieces actually are and how they're constructed later in the talk. So can pan back out, Ryan, and go into the gallery. The main pieces in this series are they're larger than I've printed my work before. This piece is 40 inches by 60, and they're printed on acrylic with backed with dye bonds. They're very rigid and very sturdy and very, very beautiful and impressive in the depth of the shine that this material provides to the pieces. So this piece we're looking at now is Afternoon in, where is this? I think it's, what's it called, Ryan? Go look at the tag.
I know, I always forget my titles too.
It's the Dusk on Honolulu Bay with Roses.
Right. So these whole 6 pieces I've named for the time of day that the photograph was taken, the photograph of the clouds, the location, and the kind of flower that I was used. So that was the format I used to title them, because I didn't want to put any sort of other meaning into the pieces other than this is a place that I traveled to, and what I saw and how I brought the floral world that I've been working with in the past into the celestial world. And so this piece was, this is an afternoon, no, brisk morning in Patagonia with bearded iris.
Cool.
All right. Yeah.
Beautiful piece.
Thank you. This is a afternoon in Ojai with magnolias. And yeah, Ryan, I have some nice clear detail shots, but so, yeah. This piece is actually the first one of the series, and it was done as part of a kind of a collaborative project. I wasn't working with someone else's work. I was trying to parlay a message that the art that had been presented to me was giving, and then give my response to it. So it was a call and response type thing, but not the one that Christine does. And then this, the last one and this one were both taken at Haleakala before sundown and at sundown. We did not stay for the sunrise because we were freezing our butts off. We got these just lovely images. And then there's one more piece that's in the window. But you know what? We can probably just look at that elsewise. It doesn't show too great in the window because of all the shine, but looks like we're going over there. You get to see traffic in the work as it goes by. All right. So again, this piece is 40 by 60, and it so they're very impressive, very, very immersive. All right. Cool. All right, well, I think that's good that we can go on to what I had prepared. Thank you, Ryan. Did you want to say did you want to give a little ad for tag or?
Sure. We are available for viewings. Just come on by. Masks are required presently, and we're limiting ourselves to just 10 visitors at a time at the moment. And there's lots of hand sanitizer available as well. If you'd like to call and schedule a private appointment, we're happy to help you do that. And that is only available through calling us directly at present. But otherwise, yeah, we're available for viewings. Karen's work is beautiful, and I look forward to hearing more about what she's gonna tell us.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan. So I can do, I guess, unspotlight Ryan. And, all right. So who are we watching now?
You're sharing the screen.
Okay, great. So Unspoken Word Beyond, a conversation with Genie Davis. So I personally wanted to start out with showing some of my earlier works, and I selected a couple of pieces that I did involve the sky in because that's such a central subject to this current work. Just as a little kind of where I've been. The piece on the left was 2011. I believe really early on in this whole series. The piece on the right, 2017. On the left is Matilaha Prairie installation, and on the right is the great big aloe eye in the sky. And these pieces are all manipulations of a single photograph around a central kaleidoscopic mandala motif. And the methods and processes that I developed using these do continue forward into this series.
They're beautiful, beautiful works, Karen.
Okay.
What is the white that you used on that? Is it a flower?
Yes, it's a Matilaha poppy.
Oh, wow.
They look kind of like a fried egg. Big frilly white.
Yeah, I know what those are.
Yeah.
Now I see it. I was trying to figure it out.
So when I manipulate the shapes, and I don't know, this might be a good time to cut in about you asked me about the program that I use.
I was just kind of waiting for you to kind of wind down that one. So, you know, your work really here is, you know, your newest works, because, you know, we've had a chance to see it briefly when Ryan did the walkthrough, is really like kind of entering into something very immersive, like a portal. And it seems like a natural progression from these works that are very, you know, kaleidoscopic, obviously, and very mesmerizing in their own way. Do you feel that your new work is more of a departure from you, or more of a natural progression from this?
It's really interesting because I personally see it as an absolute natural progression. I'm not a little bit of a stretch to move out of the round, but I had already breached that one before. I think these were around 2015, where I thought, well, what would happen if everything wasn't around the center? And had a lot of fun with that, and, you know, put it aside and do some other things, and that I kind of drew that back out for this. So it feels very natural to me, but when people have been responding to this work, they go, oh, this is so different from what you do. And I go like, really? It feels like an absolute, the process really hasn't changed. What does change, I think, a lot between the kaleidoscopic works and then when they go more bilaterally symmetrical, These ones feel like a breath in, and these ones are more expansive, more of a breath out. So yes, I feel very much that this is sort of the next step, the next progression, incorporating more than a single image. I guess that's sort of new, taking these two diverse kinds of imagery, the clouds, we're not there yet, but the clouds and the sky, and how to put them together. Just, yeah, it does. It just felt like the next step.
Yeah. There's also such a big sensation of the floral, as well as, of course, the metaphysical, you know, in all of your works, not just in the current pieces, but in these over time. How did that kind of like approach both to the floral and that kind of spiritual metaphysical stuff kind of, you know, evolve for you?
I tend to think myself that when I do the work, I'm very, very pragmatic, and it doesn't feel metaphysical. I don't meditate before I go into this. But I think that when I am one with the computer. That's where my trance is when I'm actually working with the images and creating the balance and putting this jigsaw puzzle together of all these pieces that I've created from these photographs that I've taken. So it ends up being for me, a trip down memory lane when I work on these pieces. And are totally a way for me to focus. Yeah, my husband's on the line. He can certainly verify that when I'm working on the artwork, there's nothing else happening. I'm very, very focused, and I'm appreciative of the response people have, that they find the different energies in the pieces that I'm presenting. I want to take a little bit of break in what I am doing, or we'll continue through the journey a little bit. The next thing I wanted to just kind of put in there is that when I was working towards this show, the theme of Unspoken Word was set, and I had to work with that. And I always like an assignment. I like to know kind of where I'm going and why I'm getting there, and how I can bend the rules to make that assignment mine. And I had just a lot of trouble. I was assuming that I was going to be working in a totally different method using text as my paintbrush. And I used the pandemic and a challenge to do a pandemic piece a day for 30 days at the beginning of the quarantine. And so I said, great, I'll start working with text as a brush. And I did all this stuff. And by the time I was done, it was like, you know, my show's in November, nobody's going to want to see this stuff. So I started just, you know, searching for other sorts of inspiration, and did a couple of the collaborate call and responses that Christine has been putting out there. And and these
Yeah,
are some
Karen was a real challenge to work with.
Was I? I thought it was.
Yes, yes. I had to keep up the step with you.
I thought it was very fun working with you.
It was great fun.
Heather and I did the piece with the bees. And oh no, you can't really see me, but if you look at the little thing of me, here's my little bee.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
My bee, what is this, truncated hexahedron, or I don't know. That's where the math still comes in, when I can do these little geometric things.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about your math, because I know you told me one time that you fell in love with art as a child, and then you were drawn to geometry, and then you got your first Mac computer.
Yeah.
And you've described some of your work as being a confluence of art and math. Does that really hold true for you still today? And if so, how has that shaped you as an artist?
I I stopped studying math my second year in high school. In college, I actually took a couple of calculus courses for fun. I took accounting for fun. The part of geometry that I loved all of my high school geometry. I loved construction, you know, making things with a ruler and a compass, and I loved the proofs. I loved the logic of all that. And I think that that is translated very well into my living in the world of the computer. It's not my mathematics, someone else is doing all the programming for me now. So I kind of get the benefit of the beauty of the mathematics without the details, shall we say. So I totally benefit from other people's, it's like a collaboration. Someone has created this marvelous tool and I get to go around and figure out how to use it.
I'm just laughing, Karen, because I'm seeing some of the comments come in about, you know, math and who does that and things like that. And it's true when you're saying you took calculus for fun. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, that's to each his own, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I was at California College of Arts and Crafts postgraduate work. I got a teaching credential and worked towards a master's in art education and realized I really don't like teaching. But the thesis that I was working on was a program where I was teaching junior high school students geometric construction, and then we were doing art methods with it. So they would create their truncated octahedrons and color them in different ways. And so kind of trying to make math fun. But I'm not a good disciplinarian, and junior high school and high school kids need that. So not my thing. So we can move on to the clouds and the flowers. And I just pulled out these two quotes because I thought they related nicely to the work that I'm presenting here. So this is one of the pictures from the top of Haleakala. This is late afternoon and the sky was orange and the clouds were purple. And I was above them and I wasn't in an airplane. So that was really very, very cool. Very, you know, stop the car, I've got to take this picture. Where I believe these were on the ride up. And this being the first one, I said I was in a collaborative call and response kind of type thing. And the message I was trying to relay was one of that through the power of beauty, we have the ability to change the world. And this is a piece that I created from those two images.
It's a glorious image, and it's so incredibly immersive. You know, I mean, I guess I have to say is like, again, there's both a sensuality and a spirituality to your work, and at least that's how I perceive it in many of your works. And I'm just wondering what kind of really like deep down, I guess, sort of draws you to this kind of, you know, aesthetic that makes you do these things that seem both very tactile, very sensual, very, you know, almost touchable, as if you could climb inside of them. You know, and at the same time, these things that really have a very sort of, to me anyway, a very, very spiritual bent. You know, I thought the quotes you were using in the previous slide were quite apt.
Wow. I'm drawn to the balance. I'm drawn to colors. What nature has to offer is just so beautiful, and I'm not a painter, I'm not a drawer. My imagery I take with my phone or with my camera, some kind of a camera, and I'm just drawn to the beauty of it. It's in kind of as simple as that. And then I get to go home and I get to kind of be a little mini god here, and I get to make it look exactly not exactly, well, yes, exactly what I want it to be after a lot of randomness happens. So there really is this whole mix between planned and random, between tactile and virtual. I mean, the work I do, yeah, I want to climb into it. You know, I want to go up into those castles, but it lives on a computer. So I really do like those different juxtapositions and those plays of divergent ways of creating imagery. So I'm not sure if that answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's so, you know, it's such immersive work, and at the same time, again, I mean, I guess immersive really covers all of it. There's also that sense in your work of just sort of like reaching into something much deeper and much more, you know, profound, and yet at the same time, it's very relatable because it's so, you know, it is so tactile looking, you know, so you know, visually sensual. Yeah.
So this piece, the flower is an epiphyllum, which is it's a cactus flower, and just the brightness of the colors. And I had a lot of fun here just playing with superimposing the colors on the clouds. When I reflect things, and this goes with the kaleidoscopic work as well as this bilateral work, faces, angels, butterflies, vulvas, it's just all of these different forms will come to the fore. And my job is sort of selecting them in a way that's pleasing. Kind of, I'll see faces, and if they aren't pleasing faces, they don't go. There are a lot of scary faces when you reflect things. So I'm really trying to find inspirational, beautiful balance beyond what nature is offering in the first place.
Yeah. Do you feel, is there something that you most really want your, you know, your viewers of your work and your listeners here, you know, today to kind of know about the depths of this work, about, you know, where you hope they will go, I guess, in viewing it?
Ah, wow. I do like to leave it to the viewer to see what they want. I hope that they're finding kind of emotional energies in them, that this is a place to focus and to reflect.
Yeah.
I want them to know that they're available to be put on their own walls in their own homes. Don't we all? But in looking at the pieces, they're just I just hope that they share that sort of in these pieces, particularly the breath. These pieces, I think, are very very much about breath, and the kind of, and not just about breath, but sort of the taking your breath away, the being. And this is how it was related with the unspoken word, is that it takes your breath away. There are no words. It's just, you know, ah, right?
It's true though. There's definitely that feeling of that sort of that reverence and that, you know, kind of like, yes, or as Heather just put in, you know, the eternal Om sound, you know, to all this work. There really is, yeah.
So this is a detail. You can actually, not in all of my work, but in this one, I think you can pretty much see what the flower looked like before I went and played around with it.
Yeah, many of your works are more abstract as to that reference to the flowers, but this one is very, very clearly floral. Yeah.
This
that
is
one kind of as well. That's gorgeous. It has both a sort of an well, however you say it, an insect-like, I guess, look and that floral look combined. Do you sometimes feel like you're going for the floral, or does it just emerge?
So this was actually really an interesting exercise for me. I make rules for myself. So in this thing, the rule was going to be, it was going to be flowers. It was going to be flowers in the sky, and there would be no land. So if any of my imagery had land in it, I would play around with it so it could land. And I didn't want any sort of touching the earth. It was all up in the air. And putting flowers in was probably the biggest challenge, to how to balance the floral with the air. And this piece, I was looking, through my catalog for things that were of similar color or that would accent nicely with what I had going on. And then it's just playing around with it for a while to find out which pieces of the jigsaw puzzle I'm going to use and how they go together. I think this one came together, for me, this one feels like Mother Earth to me, with her hands in front of her, welcoming you. There's also kind of that mouth that, with a railroad track going into it thing, but it's more of a welcoming to this sort of golden glow space.
Sure, I totally see that. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. And particularly in the detail, you really see it. My first impression upon seeing that both in person and here was, again, that it was like a creature. So that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
There's more. That's the detail on some of the magnolia.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Again, the details, I think, really show this amazing range of each work. Has, within each work, there's amazing range, I think.
Yeah, it's nice with them printed this big that you can really kind of go up and go, oh my gosh, what's going on there, and get closer and closer.
Yeah. Now this piece, this is just, again, so so immersive and so dimensional.
I play a lot with shadow and light, manipulating flat imagery to make it not look flat.
Yeah.
And this piece, the photograph was stunning, and it's very different from the rest of the pieces. The energy in here obviously is this is fire, this is power, this is danger. There's a bit of the apocalypse in this one, as opposed to the one before, which I felt was a lot more calming. This one is let's go out and do something. But here, where you can get into some of the little kind of altars inside of pieces, just these.
They're beautiful. You're probably not seeing the chat comments, but people are saying they want them. Christine said, and Ryan said they want them even bigger, big shiny billboards.
Well, I would love, I applied to what is the Billboard project, and we'll see. But
or projections, Heather suggests, which is also true. Yeah.
Yeah. This piece here was, a few years ago on Honolulu Bay, on Maui, which is in the winter. It's like this amazing surfing spot, like one of the top places in the world. We were up on the cliff in late afternoon, and these just amazing clouds. You had the surfers below, and I have a couple pieces with these tiny, tiny little surfers in the waves with these massive clouds above them. And this one, I think the flower that went in there mainly had to do with the color. Struggled very deeply with this one to get the balance. But I love its femininity. I mean, it's pretty blatant femininity. And
the colors alone are very feminine, I think.
Yeah.
Really beautiful image, yeah. And of course, the way the petals open and everything.
And so this one, I know that this is the piece that you asked me before we started here today, which was my favorite one. And I'm
Is
gonna
this
say
one your favorite? It's a gorgeous piece. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this one. They all are different for many reasons, but this one has some kind of things that mean something to me. One thing I like about it is it's a bit of a rule breaker. The kind of the background piece of it is not bifurcated. It's not symmetrical. And there are a couple of pieces in here that I have repeated their use, and I don't usually repeat my motifs, but let's see if we can go. This little guy,
yes,
is the same as the one up top. So that's a rule breaker for me. But I think what I love most about it is the girliness of it and the rainbows and the purple.
Well, the purple is gorgeous. What made you decide to repeat those images when you don't usually do that? Did it just fit the piece, or is it something to do with the background? Yeah.
They just fit, and I think I probably created a good 20 other little doodads in there to try to make it work, and none of them worked. So there you go.
Cool. I know Ryan says it's like a scepter, and it is. It's got a very royal quality for sure.
Yeah, it's jewelry in the sky.
Yeah.
And then we can talk a little bit. I mean, we can certainly go back to other things, but these bubble.
Yeah, well, with these pieces, and I know you have some close-ups coming up, you know, of how they're made, you know, and you can see them more clearly. They're both collaborative pieces, and you used, so we should talk on that a little bit too. But you're using resin circles to create them. How did you come up with the idea of the resin circles, and how difficult was it to implement? I know you use the ArtMatic Designer, and I don't know if that was something new for you or not.
No, actually, ArtMatic is the program that I use to take it's my funhouse mirrors. How I turn a flat image into a, you know, some of those
Dimensional one, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
like this point in the middle.
So with the resin circles, how did you come up with that as an idea to make things dimensional? And actually, I suppose, what caused you to decide to go into the area where things were, you know, dimensional physically as opposed to just in terms of the feel of them?
Okay, bit of a, let's see. Let's go through the process on this one. The first thing was to create small pieces that would have a more affordable entry point. Something the large acrylic pieces are pricey, and I kind of want something that was more affordable. Douglas and I just talked a little bit. He said I wanted to do some sort of mixing of my work, his abstract work, and my work together. And he said, "Oh, great! I make these 10-inch panels with you know, remainders from my palette from the big pieces." And I said, "Well, that's great. You know, I love his big pieces, and I've seen some of these before, and I know that my stuff would be colorful." And this wasn't actually this might have been the first thought that I had, was to do bubbles that would kind of mimic the sphere shapes that I have in the main pieces. And I like the idea of having them dimensional. So I, of course, went to Amazon and Google and tried to find lenses or some sort of, you know, domed clear thing. And they kind of stopped at 5 inches, and they were coming directly from China, and they weren't going to get here until December. And necessity is the mother of invention.
I few of those in close up if you go forward a little bit in the slides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just gorgeous. Yeah.
And so this whole thing has been a total learning process. I did 9 of them, and I think each of the 9, I glued the bubble on a different way, trying to figure out the best way to do it. And I think the best way to do it is to hire someone who knows what they're doing. I'm pretty sure if I continue to work with resin in the future, I will be employing someone to do them, because it's messy and it's meticulous, and I can't do it right now anyway because it's too cold, and there are just too many different things going on. So anyway, I manufactured these resin bubbles myself using actually it's a silicone cake mold.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did you attach them to the canvases?
Oh, well, let's see. Some of them I glued the background paper is a washi paper, and the paper on the sides is also a washi paper, and then where the bubble is a metallic paper. So there's actually a different textural aspect of what's underneath the bubble. So on some of them, I glued the circle onto the board after I'd put the other paper, the colored paper down. And then I put the bubble on top of it, and then you have to babysit it and make sure that the bubble doesn't like slide off to the side. One time I tried putting the bubble directly on the back of the piece, but that warped it a little thing. So I had like real thick edges that I had to fill up with resin. Just a bunch of different ways. And I think the best way was gluing it to the paper, putting the bubble on top, and making sure it's as level as I can, and just watching it all the time, babysitting. But the whole idea of covering with resin was try to be an easy way to coat a paper printout, to coat something in paper that isn't a frame. And of course, it's certainly not easier. I don't think it's cheaper, I don't think. But the results were really amazing, and the response to these has been quite positive, and I would like to continue exploring this. I just need to find someone to do the facilitating, do the fabricating after I've done my, made prototypes. I'm happy to make prototypes, let's put it that way.
Well, they're gorgeous. And again, to me, it's just a wonderful transition into something that works that have always felt very, immersive and dimensional to me, and are now physically immersive and dimensional. I think that's a wonderful thing, I mean, again, that whole quality of your work being portal-like is really, true of all of your work, and this just takes it sort of to the next level. I know you've done other things in the past. You've used projected images and banners and things like that. Is there something that's coming up next for you? Have you considered using much larger scale images, also using these resins, like those big billboard-like things, but using a larger section of the resin circles?
That sounds like a good idea. I hadn't. Again, I would need to collaborate with someone who knows what they're doing in those areas. Yeah. As far as projection goes, I'm always happy to, and I do some animated work as well. I'm always happy to make my things as big as they can be without having to print them out on expensive materials first. That I'm finding is to be a difficult area to print pieces out on spec.
I can see you taking some work into like the VR arena. Not that that's an easy thing to do. Hey, just learn how to do that. But if anybody could, I would think that you would be able to do something like that. Yeah.
I've dabbled a little bit in some augmented reality where it's like you can point your camera at the image and and then a video kind of plays, so it looks like you're looking inside the image to see the thing playing. That's always fun stuff to do. As far as what's coming next, I kind of really never know what's coming next. I need to get back to doing working with Anne-Marie Rousseau. We've been doing a collaborative project, which actually during the pandemic, I've been doing projects with other people and haven't been paying attention to Anne-Marie, but that's something I'll be getting back to, and maybe that might even be my next tag show, is the work that we're doing together.
What are you doing, this sort of the continuation of that piece that I had seen a while back at Loft at Liz's?
Yes, yes. We just, I don't know. I've got at least a dozen pieces in the series now, and she evidently has a whole bunch of things waiting for me to finish the next one so that she can send me a new one.
As Cindy says here, you and Anne-Marie will be amazing, and that's true because she's using those beautiful line forms, and you're using these fragmented images, which I know you once referred to me as being like foundlings that you grouped together. Found a home for. Do you still kind of view them that way, in that way that they're like these little things that you need to like sort of keep track of and put together and you know, try to find a home for?
Yeah, you know, I play around with the dials on the program, and it's always surprises. They're always, you know, new things pop up, and you know, once again, they might be eyes or they might be faces, and then I can tweak them, but I don't start out looking for them. So I do kind of find them. I think I still think they're my foundlings, though I think I have better control over them than I did at the beginning. This piece on the bottom right here, that's the one of the pieces I did with Anne-Marie. Just to go back there.
Yeah, it's a really nice piece. Yeah. There, you know, of all of these different both collaborations and the mediums that you have worked in, whether it was like the banners, you know, projections, what have you, the resin, do you have a favorite that you like to work with?
I mean, I like to work on the computer. The working with, as I get older, working with my hands gets harder. My shoulder arthritis engages. My back hurts when I'm standing over things. One of the things I do love about working on the computer is that it's easy on the body. It may not be good to make the body strong. So there might be a problem with those two things, that it might, you know, maybe I'd be healthier if I did more hands-on work. I always have liked to start things, and I'm not always the neatest of people, which is another reason why the computer is real nice, because it's contained and my mistakes aren't going to end up all over the wall or the floor or me. So yeah, creating these pieces on the computer, I think that's my favorite thing to do. And it really is whatever project I'm working on now, because when I'm working on animations, that's my favorite and least favorite thing to do. I think there's a lot of what I'm doing now is my favorite thing to do, and sometimes it's my least favorite thing to do, because there's this you know, needing to bring things to completion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting because that one idea that you had that you didn't continue on with the text elements, that seemed very much like less of a transition and more of a big departure for you. Is that something that you would consider returning to at all?
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how to stop the share here for a second. There we go. Yeah. I kind of, I don't really see that the text brushes are going to go too far. They're limited.
Yeah.
They're fun. The program that I did them in, I have much more successful avenues to explore in that, and a lot of the more geometric animations, that's the program I use for that. So no, I don't think I'm going to continue with the text. I'm not sure if I have text-based messages that I necessarily want to share with the world in that way.
Okay. I just wondered, I was curious with that one. But I just have to say again, I think this whole, you know, exhibition is just, you know, a stunning, you know, sort of tour de force of all of your past work combined with something like very new and different. And I really, really love the resin images because they do like literally sort of physically take you inside where you've mentally and emotionally wanted to go with your work for a long time. So.
Very pleased with how those turned out. The idea of my working 2D and making it look 3D, bringing it into actual 3D was like kind of like very satisfying project, no matter how much I hate working in resin.
Yeah, now that sounds like a true love-hate relationship. That seems, yeah. So yeah, but yeah, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful work. I mean, it's really, really phenomenal. And I know you had a couple of additional small pieces here in the studio that you were going to maybe show.
Oh yeah, kind of a little sort of the path to the resin pieces. And so I started out, this is actually a piece of acrylic and some images, and then I just put resin on top of it, and I don't know how many times I'd have to do it to be able to get it to be a bubble, but that was sort of a failure. Not a total failure, but something. And then because I wasn't having a lot of luck with figuring out how to do the bubble thing, I kind of switched gears and went to making my panels with this is I don't know if you can see it, there's a piece of, again, laser cut acrylic, and I've got it going through the board so it hangs out here, and putting a origami bird that is of paper that is totally of my own design, so that my floral kaleidoscopic imagery, and I brought this to a crit group with Christine, and and I've got gold leaf on the sides, and I've got all sorts of crazy on this one. Not that the piece wasn't appreciated, but it did not portray the message that I was trying to put out there. So I abandoned that and then started doing the bubbles. And then this was kind of the first one I did. I think this is all metallic underneath, and a little kind of.
It is gorgeous. Seeing the dimensional, the you know, on the you know, suspended on the acrylic origami bird. The suspension doesn't grab me, but the bird itself does. I would love to see something like that particular origami, you know, piece attached directly to, you know, the two-dimensional surface, as opposed to, like, you know, hanging over it. So yeah.
Again, as I said, it really didn't get the response I was looking for. So that's.
We're getting some very nice responses from people who do have to call it a day. So I guess we should as well, because we're almost at the hour mark.
Very good.
Before we go, does anybody else have any other questions for?
Yeah, I was going to say, so can we move into like some questions before we go? Yeah. If anyone has any.
You guys covered a lot.
I do a lot of talking. So.
We did good though, because we were talking originally about how we were going to fit in your slides and the questions, and I think that ended up working really well.
Good job.
Yeah. Anyway, Shane says great stuff, and I highly concur with him. It's gorgeous. I see Francisco is there as well, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work, beautiful show, and it's going to be up for another week. Is that not correct? I believe.
Yeah, through the end of this week, and then the Thanksgiving week, it does close on the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I will be in the gallery Thursdays, well, this Thursday,
Yeah.
and then Saturdays from 1 to 4.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you want me, see me, the gallery's open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 5. And if you want to see the show,
very easy to pop in. So yeah.
yeah, it's very easy to pop in. And just wanted to say hi with Francisco, the origami, kind of working out and making my own origami paper. That was part of the collaborate and create, whatever it's called, the call and response with Francisco. So that's where I worked the origami paper out.
Yeah, I should keep on doing that.
You should.
Yeah, I kind of have a vision of actually doing that and selling origami paper that you could fold a crane with my design on it. So it would look, yeah.
That'd be cool too.
It's a fun thought. Somewhere down the line, maybe in a year or so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to say I was not familiar with your work before today. And I really tuned in because I know Genie and I'm trying to do more art Zooms and I've been slacking. But I really enjoyed the work and I'm glad I got to be here and see it and hear you talk about it. It's really great, really unique stuff.
I'm glad you're here, Tracy, too.
Yeah.
Wonderful work. Really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you all for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good to see you guys.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. Stay safe and healthy and all of that.
Yes.
Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna make sure I save the chat here.
Yes, because you've got a lot of good things in there.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been great.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.